Hello, comic book community. Long Box Love Affair here. Boy, do I have a Grail comic for you today. This is a book never in my life did I think I'd set my hands on, and that is why it's a Grail for me. It is a Silver Age mega key that is foundational to the Marvel comic history. So before I get into this video, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see throughout the video, press that thumbs up down below and feel free to leave a comment as well. Happy to hear what you have to think about this video. So I've been very, very fortunate over the past several years. I was able to get an X-Men 1 and get that signed by Stan Lee. I was able to get Amazing Spider-Man #1, which I thought, again, never would get in my life. And then just last year, was able to get Amazing Fantasy 15. Probably should have waited a little bit longer because the price is still dropping, but still, I have it. It's my investment, and it's just a book that I can never see parting with, to be quite honest, unless I'm looking for an upgrade at some point. So these are books that are foundational to my collection that as a 10, 12-year-old collecting Indiana Jones and Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man and Jim Lee's X-Men #1, never thought this would ever hit my stratosphere. So I was able to get this book right after New Year's Eve. And there was a comic book auction on Heritage. I've never bought anything on Heritage, but I know that there are deals to be had. The only thing you have to worry about with any sort of online auction like Heritage or Comic Link is that there is a buyer's premium. So sometimes the prices look great, but then when you look at what the premium price that they add on, the 10, the 20%, whatever that percentage is that that auction house is putting on, in addition, which is their fee for administering the auction, that adds to the auction. So I am going to talk about prices. I am going to talk about my process. And yes, I'm going to talk about buyer's remorse because I had massive buyer's remorse right after buying this and how I financed this. So let's get into leading up to what this book is. So before I talk about it, I need to say that over the holidays, I was reading True Believer. And this is the Stan Lee biography that really digs into Stan's factual or non-factual statements. It is a little sad, to be quite honest, to read what happened to Stan. A lot of us know in the community that he was sort of a cash cow for everyone that was around him. And he was such a kind and generous man that he just did things for people. And I think some people took advantage of that. So definitely an expose on Stan Lee, but you know, it just it doesn't paint a positive picture for those that were around him leeching off of this man. But it also talks about his founding of Marvel Comics as it is today, the superhero era, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, Daredevil, Spider-Man. A lot of talk about those characters as they were started. And that's when this auction came around. So without further ado, Fantastic Four #1. Fantastic Four #1. And it is a 2.0. It is complete. It is not restored, as you can tell by the blue label. The only thing, I mean, there's some discoloration, whatever. I don't care. This is a book that I never thought I would even hold in my hands. 1963? No, 1961, this is labeled as. 1961. The only thing that I didn't realize until after I won this auction is, if you look at the word bubble, there is a tear right in that cover, right here. And the tear happens over the words, and it just has more words from the inside. So it's a very well-disguised flaw, which I don't mind. And it is, complete. The characters are on the cover. They're not drawn on. It's a 10-cent Marvel. Classic logo. This is a beauty. 2.0. So how did I get this book? First off, so I'm looking through the auctions. This was at like $4,000. And the high for this book at one point was over almost $20,000, I think, in the past year or two. But the market has dropped. So I felt like now was the time to try to see if I could even afford this book. This book has been on my radar, #4 and #5. Those are books that I would love to own someday. I have #2. And I think I have #2 and a 2.0. So yeah, so I was looking and watching this auction, and then the auction happened at night. I'm looking, I put a bid in for $7,000 plus. I think I put it in for like 73. I got outbid. And then I put it in for 77 or something like that, 7,700, not 77,000. That I do not roll like that. It's bad enough I put in a bid for 7,700 because that amount was not anticipated. Let me just put that way. So someone tried to bid at the last moment, but they didn't bid enough, and they didn't rebid, and I won. And I didn't win it at my top. I won it around 7,600 or so, which I was like, what? How did I win this book? How did I win this book for $7,600? But then you add the buyer's premium to that. And so that buyer's premium took the price up to $9,120. So the great deal became a little bit less great, but still well below GPA, which is what I cared about. I really wanted to scoop this up at a low price. And since then, this book, so with tax, I ended up spending about $9,700 on this book, tax and shipping from Heritage. They sent it to me about a month later. One thing I didn't realize about Heritage is they take about a month to ship things through. Maybe it's just at the cycle of auctions that I was in that I was at the front end of a cycle and they were waiting for all of them to end and then they were going to ship. So I had to do a wire transfer, sent that. I had to do a change of address to send it to a business. I didn't want this sitting out in the rain or to be stolen. So my business was secure. And I got it. And then looking at GPA on Go Collect, there was another sale for 2.0 on eBay 2 weeks later. And so remember, I paid $9,700 all said and done. That sale went for $12,999. And I'm not even sure that includes tax. I don't think it does. So there's tax on that, there's shipping fees. So this was about $3,000 less than the book that sold 2 weeks later. So I guess that's a good advertisement for these online auctions, Heritage and such. People can get carried away, and luckily they didn't with the 2.0. There were some higher grade ones up there that people might have been looking for, but I think this was a really great snag. Now, how do I afford this? I certainly have savings that I've put together, and I was anticipating some extra money coming in with work. I hadn't received that yet. So I was front loading this, and thus I had buyer's remorse. I got the package and I unboxed it myself, and I was excited, but I was also a little sad because I had spent so much money, and I was like, I shouldn't have done this because I had just less than a year ago bought Amazing Fantasy 15, which was my ultimate grail, the book that I wanted most than anything in the world. Fantastic Four is a great grail, but it's one that was never on my hit list consistently, where Spider-Man and X-Men were always my go-tos. Fantastic Four, I love, but this book just never was one I even thought I would own. I've been thinking about it lately. I was glad I found a great deal, but I was like, did I really need to spend this money? And so how do I had the money, so I paid for it, but I have been gangbusters on eBay. I've been meaning to sell my Invincible lot. I have the full run. I made some good decisions early on, and I bought issue 1 through 100 for $500 back in the day, about 7 years ago. So anything that I sold Invincible for would be a profit. So there's that. And then I had some other books that I've been trying to push. I have some CGC slabs that had been coming back from grading that had just been stalled for so long. So all of a sudden in January and February, those boxes are coming back, as you've seen through my unboxing videos. So I did a major eBay push, and between my Invincible books and some of the slabs, I have more than made up for the money and have been able to put that back. Now, granted, that's before me paying taxes on this money, which will happen later. So I need to make sure I set that money aside. But the point being, I feel good. I feel accomplished that I was able to recoup my investment. All those books equaled one Fantastic Four #1. And that has been my philosophy lately. Unless there is a book that I'm really looking for, I'm not hunting in the dollar bins, because if I keep buying all these $5 and $10 books, that adds up, takes space, and then it's hard to finance the bigger books that you want, unless I'm gonna flip some of these smaller books, which takes time and energy, and frankly, my temperament for that these days is getting less and less. So ideally, I'd love to not sell it all and just collect, but to finance the hobby, I have been selling some comic books. Not everything, but just a select few. So a little plug, thank you, all of you who have checked out my auctions on eBay. The link is in the description below. I try to refresh those every Sunday or every other Sunday. I have a whole lot of buy it nows right now with Something That's Killing the Children that is very hot in the community. So I figured, let me put these up and see what I can give back to the community and finance for another key that's on my mind. So like I said, Fantastic Four number 4 and Fantastic Four number 5 are on my hot list. Marvel Superheroes 20 is another one that I've been thinking about. Was actually going to buy one of those. And I was also going to buy an upgrade copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 3. I think that's the one that's the first Doc Ock. But I decided to put that money into Fantastic Four 1. And that's exactly what I did, because instead of buying the other 2 books. So yeah, this is a seminal key. Just as I was reading, I told you I was reading this biography, and they talk about this book extensively, especially with who created these characters. Did Stan? Did Jack Kirby? The Marvel way was the writer to give a general overview, but it's really the penciler that is creating the storyboards, and then it's up to the writer to fill in the bubbles and figure out what the story is from what the artist originally drew. So it's kind of a backwards way of creating from what most people realize in this current world that we live in. So the thought is maybe Jack Kirby created all these characters, and so there's a big brouhaha with his estate. I think there was a settlement, so that is now safe and settled. But this is the book that launched the Marvel Silver Age, in my mind. And I'm glad to have it. Would I love to have a first appearance of Thor, first appearance of Iron Man, first appearance of Hulk? Yes. But I don't foresee me pushing forward on those. I would rather the other FF books, because I think those are prime books to have in your collection. They're beautiful copies. There are not a lot of them around. And I love having books that most people do not have because they're lower print runs, rather than a Spider-Man number 1 by Todd McFarlane, which has millions of copies probably. So yeah, this was my Heritage experience. I did appreciate them. I did have to get on their case and ask why my book wasn't shipped, and they said it's slated to be shipped in February. It did arrive. It had great packaging. So had a really great experience with them, and they addressed all my inquiries. But I can't believe I have this book. I mean, I can't believe it. It's crazy. So yeah, I as a result, I did scale back on buying comics in general in January, February. I'm starting to get the itch again, starting to go to conventions again, starting to hunt in the boxes, but I'm by no means bringing back piles of comics like I used to. So collecting habits are changing a little bit, and just trying to do some more purging. So again, thanks for checking out those auctions. Thanks for checking out this video, this Grail. I mean, you may watch this and be like, he's not excited. I am super excited to have this. I am a little tired, frankly. But also, I've had this book for 2+ months. Well, almost 2 months now. So by the time it came into my hands, but it's been into my mind, I've had it for about 2+ months. I think I made a good investment, if anything. But like I said, I'm not looking to flip this book. These books will stay with me unless there's room to get a higher grade key of it in the future. But yeah, one more time, Fantastic Four number 1, first appearance of the Fantastic Four, freaking A. It's just such a nice cover. Look at that. It's complete. My Amazing Spider-Man 1 has a big tear out of the back of it, and it's what I could afford at the time. And it's beautiful otherwise. All I care about is a front cover that is complete. This one does have that little chunk out, but that is okay. That is okay. But hey, if you've lasted this long in the video, I appreciate you. Thank you. Like I said, hit that thumbs up if you did like it. Yeah, looking forward to putting some more content out there. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. All right, bye-bye.